All right, what's up, you guys? This is, I think, day 6. Filming a video, trying to get a little bit better and become a more dynamic presenter. I know, the way I said that was really fun. The topic for today's video is going to be gas and electric. And not necessarily gas tools versus electric tools, but how I personally use them together. So I think I mentioned before, I have 6 children. I also have 12 acres that I'm maintaining. Some of it's farmland, so it's not 100%. It's not as bad as it sounds. But we have a quarter-mile driveway. We've got a few things going on, and so we tend to need the bigger tools for things. And so after a while of living here, I got this bad boy. This is an Echo blower backpack. I don't recall what model. It's like the heavy duty one at Home Depot, and it's awesome. I got it. It's really useful, especially when you're doing that full driveway or whatever. You need the extra power and everything, and it's been great. But what happened is I would finish up working in the garage. I would drive the tractor on the driveway, and there'd be a bunch of dirt, and it would be a perfect opportunity to use a blower. And instead I found myself grabbing a push broom. In large part because this is just so much work to get set up, right? You got to get it down from wherever it's stored. You got a pull handle, you got a choke. This one in particular is a 2-cycle, so it's a little harder to start. You're supposed to let it warm up, all this good stuff. So by the time you do that, you're like, man, I'd rather just grab a brush and be done. And so I found that I actually wasn't using it very much unless I had a really big job, and then I would pull this out. And so I said, man, I don't know, that just feels inefficient. Like, I have a blower and I never use the blower. So then I decided, kind of on a whim, I think it was the Amazon deal of the day or something like that, I decided to try something that normally I never would have, which is something, frankly, underpowered for a 12-acre property, an electric blower. This does not have the battery on it, just so you know. This is an Ego product. And I have to say, if it was my only blower, I'd be really frustrated with it because it just wouldn't do enough. It wouldn't have enough power. The battery would probably die by the time I tried to do, all the sidewalks, everything, and I would be frustrated by that. But this is really nice when you just want to blow something off and you don't necessarily want to fire this whole bad boy up and make sure the oil, well, it's 2-cycle, make sure the gas is topped off, all that stuff. Sometimes you really just want to go woo, and then with your little walkway and be done. And so that's kind of how I use the electric. So I've looked at it really. I started on electric. We moved to this property. I moved to gas because I felt like electric, just in general, whether it's a chainsaw, a string trimmer, whatever, blower, didn't have the power. So I moved to gas. But now I'm slowly realizing that I kind of like both. And so just for different situations, like I will say the same thing, and I could do a full video on it, but with my string trimmer, like I have this awesome Husqvarna gas string trimmer. It's like a lightsaber of weeds. It's just like, But again, I have to fire it up, I have to warm it up, I have to use the choke. And so sometimes just getting an electric string trimmer and just knocking something out real quick is just what the doctor ordered. And so I find myself using that a fair amount of the time. So anyway, I think that's kind of interesting, and like a lot of people think of it as either or, right? Which should I get, this one or this one? Admittedly, it's quite a bit more expensive to have basically 2 of the same tool, but I find that they are just so different that they're not necessarily competitors. Like, one is used for one type of job and one is completely different. It's like, I don't know, a pickup truck versus a full-on commercial dump truck, right? Like, just kind of similar needs, but so different that you wouldn't even compare them. And so that's how I think about it. I'm really curious how you guys think about it, whether my blower idea makes sense to you or it's just like totally BS. So yeah, tell me what you think. Tell me how you use your electric or gas tools. I'd never do gas, I'd never do electric, whatever. I'm really curious, so drop some knowledge on it.